Welcome to the January 12th, 2019 edition of the BitcoinNews.com Daily Podcast, where we cover the biggest stories of Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency every single day and do a deep dive market analysis. This is your host, Space Marine, live from space. Well, the price of Bitcoin has given a little back. First, there was this big crash on January 10th. It was at 4,020, even at 4,040, then it crashed. First to 3,800, then it crashed again to 3,600, 3,590 about, and then it gained a little bit after that. The price slowly rose over the course of the 11th and the rest of the 10th, and it kind of peaked out at 3,670 or so, even 3,680, even 3,700 for a second, and then it's been declining now, slowly throughout the 12th. So basically, this little comeback rally, some people will call it a dead cat bounce. I don't like that term. I like alive cats, but they call it dead cat bounce because anything that's even dead would bounce when it gets thrown into the floor. Alright, so the crypto market cap regained to 123.5 billion, but now it's at 122.4 billion, so it's given $1 billion back. It's been a very slow decline of 1%. And so yeah, it's only $1 billion lower now. I mean, that's a lot of money, but for the crypto market cap, it fluctuates. It could do that in 5 minutes, changed by $1 billion. Bitcoin's barely moving compared to the other cryptos when it comes down to it too. XRP Ripple is at 33 cents, $13.64 billion market cap. Notably, Ripple is gaining in lead. Last time on the show it was $200 million ahead of Ethereum, so Ripple's in that number 2 spot again, but now it's $500 million ahead of Ethereum. So that gain over Ethereum is growing, and I think this might be here to stay. So Ethereum's going down a bit. It's actually down over 1% in the past day, and I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm going to do a deep dive of Ethereum right now. So Ethereum has some exciting things happening for it. The Ethereum Constantinople Hard Fork is coming, and the price of Ethereum rallied 80% in the past month before that crash happened because people are getting excited about the prospects of the hard fork. It's because the hard fork introduces some new features like lower gas costs, and by the way, gas is kind of the transaction fee in the Ethereum world. It gets them closer to Serenity, which is the highly scalable version of Ethereum, but there's a caveat. So Serenity, when it comes, it'll probably be another year, and it will come after plenty of articles and debate and plenty of talks on the show about it. But yeah, Serenity will come and it'll be proof of stake. It'll be highly scalable. They're going to use ZK snarks and all that stuff that he's been talking about, and I'll probably write an article about that at some point. But so yeah, lowers the gas cost. Let's just talk about Constantinople. Lowers gas costs. Lowers the block reward from 3 Ether to 2 Ether. And the Ethereum miners have already been suffering big time. So Ethereum's price went down from $1,400 to where it is now. It went below 100 for a point, and probably will go back to that again, I think, really soon during this fork. So yeah, Ethereum went up from $85 in mid-December during the worst of the market. It went all the way up to $160 briefly around Christmas Eve. And then it crashed, but then it went up again to $150, maybe up to $155. Almost $160 actually, in early January 2019, the year we're in now. And then it was at $150 right before this crazy little crash happened. It was actually at $152. It was doing good. And so it was up 80%. It was up 80% from its low of $85, and then boom, it crashed to $127, $128, steadied out near $129, but now it's slowly leveling off to $125. Why is Ethereum slowly dropping? Why is it slowly shedding market cap at $13.1 billion market cap right now? Losing millions of dollars every time I refresh from that market cap? Well, this Ethereum Constantinople fork is uncertain. So it's definitely coming. It's coming at block 7.08 million abouts. Yeah, so it's going to come at block 7.08 million, and we're already at block 7.058 million. So that means it's coming really soon. It's coming within 22,000 blocks, 21,533 blocks from right now. And blocks are very short. It's like every 15 seconds there's an Ethereum block. So if you do the math, 21,500 times 0.25, because 15 seconds is a quarter of a minute, I will find how long this will take. 5,375 minutes. And then divide that by 60 minutes in an hour. It's going to be 90 hours. And then divide 90 hours, we already know what that is. We don't need to divide. It's like just less than 4 days from now. So it's going to come on like the 16th or so. They're saying the 16th. From my calculation, it looks perhaps slightly longer than that. Maybe it'll come on the 17th. But it's possibly going to come on the 16th. So like the 16th or the 17th. That's like a few days from now. We're going to have the Ethereum blockchain hard fork. There's going to be 2 different versions of Ethereum. At least temporarily. A hard fork means there's 2 different versions of the chain. The new chain that's upgraded and the old chain will continue until it dies, until everyone stops mining it. As long as people mine it, it will exist. And I have this neat little website on ethernodes.org, a very trustworthy website, showing the adoption for Constantinople. It's kind of like the best way to measure, are people ready for Constantinople? So basically the upgrade's already been released. It's just not active yet. So they released the upgraded client, and they told the miners to upgrade probably at least several days ago now, maybe like a week or 2 ago. They told people to start upgrading. People are not listening. And it goes back to this miner debate. So 15.8% of the total clients are ready for the Constantinople fork. That is not even a majority. It's not even close. So 1,171 nodes in the world are ready for the Constantinople fork. And that's only 15.8% of all the nodes. By the way, it was 15.9% right before I started the show, so it's not like constantly rising. Literally, like some of the nodes decided to on-upgrade during the time I was talking. So this could be contentious. And what does it come back down to? Well, they're slashing the block reward from 3 Ether to 2 Ether in a time the miners have already been kicked really hard. And with a proof of work cryptocurrency, Ethereum is proof of work right now. They're trying to go to proof of stake when they go to Serenity, but right now they're proof of work. That means the miners can vote. Why would the miners vote for their own destruction? Miners invested a lot of money into Ethereum, into mining Ethereum. They have lots of rigs. They lost lots of money. They had to liquidate some rigs. Some of the ones that are really dedicated are burning their own money to keep mining Ethereum. And then they're going to lower the block reward from 3 Ether to 2 Ether. That doesn't sound like that big of a deal to us that don't mine Ethereum, but it is a big deal when you do the math. They're going to lose like 33% of their profit margin, which puts like all of them in the negative. So these miners are voting for self-destruction by choosing to mine Ethereum. So I think this could be more than a fluke. Like there's some people saying, like there's this CoinDesk article that was saying, it's not that big of a deal that they didn't upgrade yet. Like they're going to upgrade, I'm sure. So yeah, the CEO of the top mining pool, Ethermine's the one that's saying that. His name is Peter Prasher. He's saying that he says that the statistics are flawed, and he thinks the adoption is closer to a majority. How could he know that? I mean, what I see is the actual data here, people that upgraded, and literally this is coming in a few days. Why would they wait to upgrade? You know, it's important to, if you really wanted to be on the new Ethereum blockchain and they saw it, they would upgrade. And I don't believe people mining Ethereum are like out of the loop so badly. So I think there's more to this. I think adoption will increase as the fork approaches a little bit, but it's going to increase a lot. They got to at least get a majority. If they don't get a majority, we're going to be left with like a new version of Ethereum that has less mining power than an old version that the miners have basically taken over. So yeah, the developer teams could be like, goodbye old version of Ethereum, we're on the new version, we're on the Constantinople version, and then the miners will be like, hey, we have our own version now. We took over Ethereum, you know? They'll have the longest chain. So what defines a cryptocurrency? Whatever has the longest chain is the real chain. And this will bring up a nice philosophical debate, because you could have 2 different cryptocurrencies, and like you could change one of their names, and then you have 2 different cryptocurrencies. When a hard fork happens, you have 2 different blockchains. Period. There's going to be 2 different blockchains. It appears at this point there will be people mining the old Ethereum blockchain. I kind of expected this. I called this a long time ago because it just makes pure sense. Why would miners vote by changing to the new version of Ethereum to destroy themselves? They use ETH hash algorithm, and they have ASICs for that. And by the way, they're trying to get rid of the ASICs. I don't think they're getting rid of the ASICs on this update. They made a strong case to get rid of the ASICs, but they did not. But they said they're going to get rid of it in the next few months. So they're first going to do from 3 Ether to 2 Ether, and then a few months later ban the ASICs, kinda. They're going to go to Prog POW. It doesn't completely ban the ASICs, but it's going to make the ASICs, like, which is the most specialized form of mining machine. It's going to make them not mine efficiently at all, and they'll become trash. Basically banning them. And I don't think the miners are going to, like, walk into self-destruction. Like, the miners care about mining. They want to make money on mining Ethereum. And they bought specialized equipment for that. They're not going to be down with the developers annihilating them. And I think it's happening. And I'm almost glad to see the miners sticking up for themselves. Why would they do this? It would blow my mind if they would just decide to cease to exist. I don't think that makes any sense. And it's not right. I think the developers should recognize that proof of work is the best way to have a decentralized cryptocurrency. If Ethereum goes to proof of stake, they're going to say, we're decentralized. You know, you could stake your coins on voting. We're going to vote all the time. Well, by the way, if you stake your coins on voting, you can't use your coins for anything. And that's not good for Ethereum as a currency at all. It's not even good for Ethereum as use for DApps and whatever. Like, people need their Ethereum to do stuff. And they don't like having it locked up for vote. Second off, people, like, you see how low the adoption is? 15% for people that are ready for Constantinople. It would be something like that. Every single vote, there would only be like 10-20% of the people voting in all of Ethereum. So it would be like very not democratic votes. So proof of work is way more decentralized. Proof of stake is more centralized by a lot. The developers will have full control to change things. Like, it'll be the end of decentralization pretty much for Ethereum. I know that's a big thing to say, but it's true. Coins that use proof of stake voting are not decentralized, even though theoretically they could be. This is not an ideal world. People don't have time for that. People don't want to lock their coins up for voting. And what you're left with is like the developers voting for themselves with proof of stake. And they always win. And then Ethereum becomes at the whim of these developers. It's not a good idea. They should embrace the proof of work. They should embrace the security and the decentralization given to them from miners. Instead, they're trying to destroy the miners. It's really obvious. They're saying, oh, we need this for scalability. But you could also see them saying, we need this for better control. The miners can ruin the network. Well, so yeah, there it is. Just again, only 15.8% of Ethereum nodes have upgraded to Constantinople. That's it. And it's struggling to go higher. And the price of Ethereum is starting to react to this. It's dropping while nothing else is really dropping today. Everything else is, not everything is going up today, and we're going to go into the rest of the market now after this, but Ethereum's obviously slowly losing price. It lost its rank to Ripple. This could be quite a war. So what if these miners that are not upgrading are planning on a coup d'etat? Well, I think it's possible. I think at least some of the miners will have a coup d'etat, and that's going to cause a mess for the market. And a mess for Ethereum in general. So that's coming in 3 days. It says actually, yeah, now I've got the countdown here. 3 days, 17 hours, and 34 minutes from right now. We're going to have Ethereum fork. So our math was correct. I said almost 4 days, but not quite. And, yeah, there it is. Very interesting to watch this happen over the next few days. How about the rest of the cryptocurrencies? Well, Bitcoin Cash is at $134. Bitcoin Cash is the best example of a cryptocurrency that hard forked and kind of wrecked itself. It was over $600 for Bitcoin Cash right before the fork because they actually rallied before the fork. Just like Ethereum rallied before the fork. Until the last days before the fork, Bitcoin Cash rallied. And then it started going down. And now it's at $134. It went below $100 for a brief period of time. Bitcoin Cash is like not quite solidly number 4. It's almost at the market cap of EOS, and EOS has been struggling. EOS had a $5 billion ICO, and now it's like $2.2 billion. Bitcoin Cash is nearly tied with EOS. Not good for Bitcoin Cash. They kind of wrecked themselves. And by the way, Bitcoin Cash says they're the best version of Bitcoin, but they're not Bitcoin. They're not coin. Same with Bitcoin SV. So Bitcoin SV says they're the true Bitcoin, and they're actually up 5% today. So they're doing really good today for some reason. While Bitcoin Cash is going down, that's usually the way it is. They're kind of competing. They're opposing forces. So Bitcoin SV has a $1.5 billion market cap at number 10. And it says it's the original version of Bitcoin. Just remember, Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Cash are not Bitcoin, okay? Stellar is up like 3%. Stellar's kind of like Ripple. And then we have Litecoin's up 1%. So Litecoin had a nice rally. It went up like a lot. Like 75% in the past month before the crash. So now it's only up like 50% probably. It's trying to get back to that $2 billion market cap. So Bitcoin's going down a little. Ethereum's going down steadily. Litecoin's going up. Tron had a big pump and dump, and they're declining. So Tron pumped. They went up 165%. That's pumped territory, and now they're dumping. That whatever crash happened, whatever caused that Bitcoin crash, popped the Tron bubble, caused panic selling. The panic selling's accelerating relative to the other cryptocurrencies. They're down almost 4% today. So everyone thought, oh, Tron's entering a new golden era. Tron's going to be the major crypto. Tron's going to overtake Ethereum because Tron's being used for DApp development, kind of like Ethereum is used for. Nah, Tron's at a $1.5 billion market cap and crashing. It's popping. While Ethereum, I just said Ethereum's not going to do that good, but it's at a $13 billion market cap. Ethereum's not going to fall to number 3. Okay, just to put this in perspective. Ethereum's at $13.1 billion market cap, while Bitcoin Cash is at $2.3 billion market cap. Ethereum will no way get surpassed by Bitcoin Cash or anything. It's going to be at number 3 for a while, probably. Ripple's probably going to go ahead of Ethereum, but Ethereum is not going to be overtaken by another altcoin. That being said, I'm thinking about it now. If Ethereum really has problems from this fork, it could cause a bit of an overall crypto-wide crash. So we're going to have to watch that closely. If Ethereum has serious problems, Bitcoin Cash caused a huge crash in the Bitcoin market. Even though Bitcoin Cash is not Bitcoin, just the fighting in any sort of major crypto causes the whole market to lose some confidence and go down pretty much. Or maybe, that's an idea, and then short sellers say, okay, people are going to lose confidence, or we're going to short sell right now, we're going to manipulate the market right now. When you think of something that could make the market go down, what I just said, Ethereum forking could make the market go down from loss of confidence, short sellers could take that and run with it and be okay, we're going to attack right now because people are losing confidence. And then they'll think it's because of that. Because short sellers have ammunition. They actually hold a lot of real Bitcoins, too. And they could sell them at times that are beneficial, because short sellers make money on Bitcoin going down. So what's better, to sell Bitcoin when it's doing stable or going up, or to sell it when everyone's panicking already for something else? That's exactly how it is. They hit you when you're weak, these short sellers on the futures markets. Alright, going down the list, IOTA it's down a lot from where it was. It was over $1 billion, now it's at $873 million market cap. The number one directed at cyclic graph coin, good for Internet of Things and storing data. Monero is at $45. It kind of recovered a little bit, and then that big drop is bringing it back towards the bear market lows. And by the way, Bitcoin could end up going back towards bear market lows too. It's kind of up in the air. I don't think the bottom's in though. We're gonna have to see a long, consistent rally in all of the cryptos to say a bottom's in. All these top cryptos we talk about on every show. Dash is steady too. It's at $74. So basically across the board, let's get to Dogecoin. Dogecoin's up. $254 million market cap. So Dogecoin's always quite stable when the whole market crashes. The market went down 10, 15%, even more. Dogecoin only went down 7%. One that's been doing really good is Burstcoin. So Burstcoin got it together. They kind of lost their development team because the development team left. But now they're rallying because they have a new team and the team's working together. And I actually talked to the developer and he says everyone's working together in a Bitcoin style way. And now they're up 5% today. So Burstcoin lost some market cap when they lost their proof of capacity consortium development team. But that was a semi-official team. A new one has taken place and they're regaining in the market cap. It's going to take a little time. They're only at $7.6 million market cap, but they could probably go up quite a lot. Back to where they were, back to 10 million, which is 25% from here. Alright, so that's all we have for you today on this January 12th, 2019 edition of the BitcoinNews.com Daily Podcast. Come back tomorrow for another exciting episode, and we'll keep you updated on this crucial, critical Ethereum Constantinople situation with a hard fork coming. There will be 2 different Ethereum blockchains. We'll see how long the old one lasts, if it becomes a new cryptocurrency. It's possible. Alright, this is your host Space Marine signing out, and don't forget to go to BitcoinNews.com 24/7 for the full spectrum of Bitcoin, blockchain, and crypto analysis. Adios amigos.